Courteous & Son Funeral Home, Sylacauga, Childersburg. In obituary news this morning, funeral service for Sarah Naomi Wallace, age 72, of Sylacauga, will be Sunday at 2 p.m. from Courteous & Son North, with the Reverend Wayne McDaniel officiating. Burial in the Evergreen Memorial Cemetery. There will be a visitation from 1 until 2 prior to the service, also at the funeral home. Miss Wallace died September 23rd at her residence. She was a lifelong member of the First Free Will Baptist Church and a retired teacher from the Talladega County Board of Education. Online condolences at courteousandsonfh.com. Courteous & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel in Sylacauga, directing that service. Tammy R. Cottrell, or Tammy R. Corbett. Tammy R. Corbett, age 33, of Sylacauga, died September 23rd at Coosa Valley Medical Center. Courteous & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, announcing. Visitation for Annie R. Neely, age 88, of Sylacauga, will be Friday afternoon from 4 until 8 at Courteous & Son North in Sylacauga. A second visitation will be held on Saturday morning at Mount Pisgah Missionary Baptist Church on U.S. Highway 231 in Titus. That is from 10 until 11. And then the graveside service will follow at 11. Fond memories and expressions of sympathy can be shared at courteousandsonfh.com to the Neely family. Courteous & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing that service. In other obituary news this morning, graveside service for Davy Lane Leach of Sylacauga will be Friday at 11 a.m. from Wewoka Cemetery, with the Reverend Fred Milam officiating. Burial in the Wewoka Assembly of God Cemetery. Visitation will be from 10:30 until 11, preceding the service. Online condolences at courteousandsonfh.com. Courteous & Son Funeral Home, North Chapel, directing. Funeral service for Mr. Bloss T. Walker, age 72, of Sylacauga. That service will be on Saturday at Courteous & Son North, with burial in the Risers Cemetery in Alpine, Alabama. Courteous & Son Funeral Home in charge of the arrangements. Also in obituary news on this Thursday morning, get these to pull up right here, a little issue with them today. Mr. James B. Sandifer. Funeral service will be today in Childersburg, the Childersburg Chapel, for Mr. James B. Sandifer, age 74. Visitation from 10 until 12 at the Childersburg Chapel, and the funeral service at noon from the Childersburg Chapel. Burial in the Green Hill Memorial Gardens. Courteous & Son Funeral Home, Childersburg Chapel, in charge of the arrangements. Also this morning in obituary news, Jimmy Laverne Lippum, age 80, of Talladega, died September the 18th. Funeral service will be today at Talladega Funeral Home, beginning at 2 p.m. Visitation prior to the service at the funeral home. Talladega Funeral Home, directing. Celebration of life for Mrs. Terry Cook, age 50, is Saturday at 11:30 from Pine Grove Baptist Church Cemetery in Sylacauga, with the Reverend Clifton Cook officiating. Visitation Friday from 1 p.m. until 7 p.m. at the funeral home. Mr. Cook died Saturday, September the 19th at Coosa Valley Medical Center, Community Funeral Home, directing. Mary McGee, age 69, died September 22nd. Funeral arrangements to be announced by Terry's Metropolitan Mortuary. And funeral service for Mrs. Jordan Holly. That service will be held today. Wright's Funeral Home, directing. And funeral service for Amy Lynn Rogers will be 2 o'clock today at Wright's Funeral Home Chapel in Alexander City, with Reverend Carl Stokes officiating. Burial in the Rock Springs Church Cemetery. Wright's Funeral Home in Alexander City in charge of the arrangements. This obituary report this morning is brought to you by Curtis & Son Funeral Home, the North Chapel on Highway 21 in Sylacauga, and the Childersburg Chapel on Highway 280 in Childersburg for pre-need funerals, burials, or cremation since 1975. Curtis & Son Funeral Home,